What's up, design family, and welcome back to another episode of Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you back on the channel. On today's episode, we'll be looking at return policies. 5 key characteristics that a reasonable return policy should include for any fashion brand selling online. Chances are, if you're selling online, you're going to be faced with a situation where your customer is going to want to return a product that they bought. So how do you go about creating a return policy that makes sense for both you and the customer? At the end of the day, the goal is to create an experience that is going to keep your customers loyal and coming back time and time again. When it comes to where one starts, it can be quite confusing. What are the right terms and conditions? How do I create a return policy that customers don't take advantage of, but at the same time, they don't feel that they're being taken advantage of as well? It's about striking a balance. So on today's episode, we'll look at 5 key characteristics that every reasonable return policy needs to include, and how to structure a return policy that's going to keep your customers loyal and coming back time and time again. Hey guys, and welcome to Fittdesign TV. So glad to have you here. On this channel, we discuss all things sports fashion, graphic design, manufacturing, and technology. We'll discuss key topics, answer pressing questions, and provide actionable steps on starting your own product line. If you're interested in any of the above topics, stick around. You're in for a good one. When it comes to the 5 key characteristics of a reasonable return policy, number 1 is that you need to make sure that your return policy is easily findable. You're going to have your return policy on your website, and some retailers feel that if they hide the return policy in the inner depths of their websites, or they make it tough to find, that this is going to mean that customers don't take advantage of it or won't actually go ahead and choose to benefit from it. That's actually on the contrary. Your customers are going to want to return a product regardless of your return policy, and even if they can or can't find it, if they are unhappy with the end product. So look at the flip side in this case. If you have a clear and concise return policy that is easily findable, you're going to give your customers who are browsing your website the confidence that they need to actually go ahead and make that purchase. So you're benefiting from that initial purchase. You're also creating an overall transparency that your customers are going to appreciate, and a better shopping experience that is going to leave a good taste overall when it comes to your customers' experience with you. So it just makes sense that since your customers are going to return anyway, that you might as well show transparency, create a better environment overall for them, and make sure that when they do actually initiate the transfer or the request for a return, that you do accommodate it. So make your return policy as easily findable as possible. Number 2, make sure to ditch the legal technicalities and the jargon. A positive return experience starts with a clear communication between you and your customer. Ultimately, using a return policy that exclusively uses words that a customer can only decipher by use of an legal consult or a legal dictionary is not a good start to that process. You want to give your customers clear and concise instructions in terms of how they can go about creating and starting the process of issuing a return. This is going to lead to a better experience overall, and ultimately to less headache on their part and also on your part. Number 3, make sure that you give a reasonable time frame within your return policy. At the end of the day, nobody likes tight deadlines. So by providing your customers with ample time to make a decision on whether or not they'd like to return a product, you're not only valuing their time and showing that, you're also showing that you believe in the longevity and have full confidence in your products. The standard practice in the e-commerce world is to provide between 30 to 60 days for a return policy, but some customers have actually found massive success in reducing their return rates by actually widening that time frame. And number 4, make sure to accurately and concisely define the condition you'd like your goods to be returned in. Make sure to be specific. Use words like unused, unworn, or as new. And if you want to give your customers a little bit more flexibility, and if you're feeling generous, you can use words like intact or lightly used. Ultimately, by failing to to define the condition in which you expect your goods to be returned in. This is going to risk having the customer send back the merchandise in tatters. So you'll find yourself in a very tough spot when trying to repair it, let alone trying to resell those goods. Number 5, make sure to be upfront about your shipping costs. In a study that tracked consumer behavior over a 4-year period, they find that consumers that were asked to foot the shipping bill actually ended up reducing their purchases on said website by 75 to 100% over a 2-year period. So if you do expect your customers to pay for return shipping, make sure that that is clearly stated in your return policy. Now that we've looked at how to create a reasonable return policy, let's look at how you can prevent these returns before they even happen. So the overarching theme of this is to create or to provide clear and accurate product descriptions. And you can do this by obviously offering clear images that showcase your product from multiple angles. Videos are a plus and a great way to show a 360 view of your designs and the products themselves in a short and concise format. Also, accurate sizing charts or precise measurements that you have up on the website where you take your customers through key points of measurements and how to measure themselves and how that ultimately translates into your sizing specs. This is going to be a clear-cut way to show customers if they have a chest that's a 30, that this is the size they should be buying from you, so on and so forth. And ultimately, you should be monitoring repeated returns closely. If you have a style or a SKU that's being repeatedly returned, chances are it's being incorrectly marketed or there's a fundamental issue with that product. So make sure that you're tracking that and make sure that you reach out to customers to find out why these products are being returned, hopefully to avoid lengthy return processes like this in the future that can cost you both time and money and even can cause your customers headache and you may lose their loyalty long term. Well, that's pretty much it, guys. That is a wrap. Hopefully by now you have a better idea on how to create a reasonable return policy that makes sense for both you and your customers. The goal here is to create an environment and an experience that your customers can keep coming back to and feel comfortable shopping at. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please consider smashing a thumbs up. It really does help us out and lets more people see these videos. If you guys want to see more episodes like this, let us know what topics you want us to cover in the future. Until next episode, guys, stay awesome.